happens when a child isn't ready for kindergarten? It means that they have a 1 in 8 chance of catching up, and they're 4 times more likely to drop out of high school. For some families, things like Gymboree and quality preschool help them get prepared. For our families who don't have those kinds of resources and supports, the rich learning opportunities just aren't there. Literacy Lab was founded because we wanted to create a different reality for children experiencing poverty. We wanted parents to have the resources and tools they needed to make sure that their children have all the experiences to be successful. We piloted our innovative tablet program in 2013, and after seeing language gains for kids and increased parent engagement in our initial work, the program has really taken off.
We want kids to be able to learn with their caregivers anywhere. We create these learning opportunities by offering traditional tools such as hardcover books and parent workshops. We've loaded up the tablets with an interactive curriculum that offers over 1,000 ebooks and learning applications that focus on the critical skills needed for a child's development. This is as much about caregivers as it is about children. So we provide an online interactive environment for parents where we send text messages and videos and provide online supports so that they have the power to create rich learning environments for their kids.
Pues una de las cosas importantes sería que lleguen a la universidad y pues sean profesionistas. A lo mejor algo que no pudimos llegar nosotros, pero darles todo el apoyo para que ellos de alguna manera puedan llegar a ser un profesionista.
Because every child deserves to walk through that kindergarten door ready to succeed.
Thank you for having me here tonight, and a special shout out to Jen Rainin, who has had incredible faith in Literacy Lab and actually nominated us to be a part of Battery Powered. I wanted to share a story with you about a little girl named Tanya. Tanya's parents are Puerto Rican, and they lived in New York. So by the time she was 2, Tanya had gone from the mainland to the island back to the mainland, all the while switching her language from English to Spanish back to English. And by the time she was 3, Tanya had lived in 5 places, actually 5 of the 13 eventual places she would live by the time she graduated from high school. Tanya's single mother had to make tough choices between food, healthcare, a quality education, a safe place to live, all the while working and all the while wanting the best opportunity for her child. Tanya had a lot of good things going for her. She had a family who loved her deeply, and she had a crate of books that she would carry from apartment to apartment. And in addition to that, at age 4, she went to this amazing preschool, East Harlem Block Preschool. And a couple things happened at that place. First, Tanya had the ability to have all of the educational resources that really laid the literacy foundation for her to go on to succeed. So much so that she bypassed kindergarten completely and went straight to 1st grade. And her mom learned also. She got together with all the other mothers and fathers, and she learned how to take her precocious child and teach her how to read. And she learned how to be able to, no matter where they lived, bring art and music and stories into their home. And most importantly, she learned how to be an advocate for her child. So when the time came, she could stand up proud, put hand on her hip and say, no way, you're not doing that to my child. When someone tried to keep her down and create opportunity, and not have her be able to create the opportunities that she wanted for her child. Now, there were many someones in her life. And along the way, as Tanya went through her schooling, they faced a couple challenges. Inadequate school facilities, teachers, because she was brown and poor, who had low expectations for her, and school counselors who said, she's not going to go to college. But what did Tanya's mom do? Put her hand on her hip, stood proud, and said, no, you're not going to do that to my child. She did that so much that Tanya started hearing that moment when her mother was struggling and saying, no way. So much so that when Tanya's friends in the neighborhood were doing drugs and starting to get pregnant when they were teens, Tanya was the first to go on to college in her family. And she went on to law school and some of the best higher education institutions in the world. Now, that little girl, Tanya, is me. I'm Mia Lisa Tanya Bonta. And thank you. And I share that story with you because what happened at East Harlem Block Preschool was a spark moment, a moment when Tanya had the ability to have that literacy foundation set for herself, and her mother was able to say, not my child. And that is essentially at the core of what Literacy Lab does. We really focus on making sure that every parent has the ability to teach their child and care for their child and create that learning pathway for their child anytime, anywhere. We use the hook of literacy, the aspirations of every single parent, and the power of technology to build a movement around learning. Because we know that every single parent deserves to be able to have their children walk through that kindergarten door. And there are going to be challenges along the way. Our Digital for Literacy program, which is a mobile technology program where we use tablets as well as the smartphones that parents, at about 85% of our parents use, is the basis of what we do. We're really trying to be able to create a moment when parents have content, just like that little girl did, carrying her crate of books around. Instead of 12 books in that crate, our kids and families have 1,000 ebooks available to them and learning apps and all these wonderful things that we've been hearing about. It's transformational. And not only that, but we really focus on building an online and offline community for parents. We want parents to be able to have workshops and text messaging and video messaging so that they can control the content that their children are exposed to. Content is important. It is necessary, but it is not enough. What really makes that content come to life is when a parent can take that and make it personal and actionable. And our program, our Literacy Lab program, is really focused on building a platform that creates a seamless integration between content, data usage, feedback, and action. We want parents to have it all. So parents, in order for parents to be resilient, in order for children to be resilient, they need empowered parents. I want to share another story with you about a mother in our program, Melissa. She was actually a part of our pilot program 2 years ago with her pre-kindergarten child, Addison. And I got an IM on one of my social messaging accounts from Melissa, and the headline read, "Early readers." Well, you know, I had to open that thing up. And so I opened it up, and Melissa said, "I'm wondering if you run any elementary school programs, or if you know about any early readers." You see, the thing is, I'm mad. I'm mad because Addison went to a kindergarten that didn't prepare her. I wanted her to be able to learn her sight words and write sentences, and I read to her every single night. And even though I did that, Addison is not where I want her to be. You know what my response was? I said, "Melissa, you're doing everything right by your child. Stand proud." You know what, Melissa? Maybe you didn't get a kindergarten that was providing all the resources that you need to. Get ready to put that hand on the hip, girl. And you know what, Melissa? If we work together and we continue, you know what you got to do? You got to walk into that first teacher grade classroom and wag your finger and you say, "No, not today." Stand proud. Hand on hip. No, not today, not my child. Now, we really want to be able to create an environment where this is the possibility for every child. We've had some initial successes, which have been really wonderful. You heard a little bit about. We've had exponential growth, 800% growth in 2 years of our existence. And we have proven results in evaluation that show that our model really helps to create not only that spark moment in terms of the content that a child is getting, but the way that a child can be able to succeed by leveraging the power and the empowerment of their parents. Now, make no mistake, we are seriously still in our garage phase. Now, I'm a long way from East Harlem Block School, but I really feel like that moment of East Harlem Block, as our organization is growing, could be right here in this room with you all. We really love to be able to think about the way that we're supporting what we're doing, and would love to be able to have your support as well. One last story. In a magical land called California, there was a place, a fortress of good called the Battery. And in that place, there were people, good people, who laughed and thought and investigated and struggled. And those good people got together, and one night they called all the knights and inventors in the realm, because they knew that they were living in a world where, even though there was an abundance of riches, there were still thousands of children in the land who were not flourishing. And they said to those inventors and knights, please join our battle. And you know what they did? Those people, those good people, looked into the abyss where tens of thousands of children were likely not going to be able to thrive and flourish. And you know what they did? Bring out your inner Bronx girl for me right now. They stood tall, put their hand on hip, and they said, no, not today. Thank you very much for being an ally in our work.
That was really wonderful, actually, and really enjoyed the stories you told there. It was really great, and it's wonderful work that you're doing too. The question I had is a question we asked at a previous group, which was, how do you measure success with children rather than tests? So that's really it. Is how do you feel that the children are progressing and be able to show that to the parents as well?
Right. Well, we do use a pre and post test to look at language and numeracy. We think it's absolutely critical to be able to have that kind of data. But this platform that I'm talking about really starts to look at the behaviors and the usage of the tablets and the mobile technology. That's what we want to get a sense of. We want to be able to have a child go in and know that they're kind of working on one app and decide to turn that one off, or they stopped at peekaboo on page 3 for some reason. And we want to take all that data and really be able to have that be usage data that we're pulling on the back end, essentially, from the tablets, to be able to understand what that needs to look like when the parent and child next sit together and figure out what they need to do. So we're actually using data to be able to understand and create different experiences for parent and children.
I love that you're addressing caregivers first. I think that is the primary concern with children and learning. One of my questions is how are you dealing with parents who are illiterate, parents who are English language learners, parents who are not able to necessarily use some of those resources?
Those are many of our parents, kind of illiterate, low literacy levels. Certainly many English language learners, because we work with many immigrant families in particular. That's the core of what we do. We have so many stories of parents who are able to say, I'm actually learning language and learning by sharing with my child. So we focus a lot on the parent who is picking up a tablet for the first time and is kind of like, that's our parent. And what we're really doing is creating that opportunity for parents to be able to use whatever they have, whatever tools they already have in their basket. Storytelling, reading time can turn into storytelling, and having that be the focus of the way that they're contributing to their child's success. Thank you.